Want to negotiate better deals for your business? Well, today on the show, we're going to show you 3 ways you can negotiate better deals and better opportunities for you in your consulting business. Why do we need to know how to negotiate? Well, every opportunity we can actually be improving our situation both financially and lifestyle based, literally on the things that we negotiate on in the deal. Now, that doesn't mean we're taking something from anybody. Often it's actually adding to the design of the conversation and the design of the opportunity in front of us. So I want to show you these 3 principles that are going to make sure that you get a better opportunity and a better deal in just about every situation. Now, here's number 1. Know your options. So before you come into any negotiation, you ideally want to know what are the options you can negotiate around. Often when people are in a conversation, whether it be a sales conversation or whether it be a delivery conversation, they can get stuck in 2 elements. Number 1 being time, how much time have I got to do this, and how much am I going to get paid for this? But there are so many other ways and other things that you can negotiate on. There is the time that it actually takes, absolutely. But there's like how we go about delivering it. It's who does the delivery. It's payment terms. So not just about how much it is, but how long of time that you get paid over. You know, I was talking to a colleague recently and he spoke about a very good solution, which was this is how much the project's going to cost. And after they agreed that that was the case, he said, by the way, I'm happy to give 7% off if you're able to pay it within the next 14 days. Now, if you've been working with large organizations, you know that that is a big change to often the 60 days, month end, 60 days, even 90 days payment terms that some of these organizations give you. But actually giving an opportunity for people to get 7% off or even 10% off the deal, it makes a CFO pay attention. And you know, these are the guys that actually hold the purse strings of the organization, and they will happily save 10% of an entire project if they can actually get you payment faster. Now, sometimes they won't, but it's a negotiation option. There are you can also say, you know, I'm negotiating on other benefits back to me. So we're going to not just do one engagement, we're going to do 3 engagements, and they're going to be of a certain amount of money. Or I'm going to be the primary supplier in this space. Now, they're tricky, the ones where you get locked into a contract or whatever it might be, because people will tend to find a way around those situations. So you always want to end up in an engagement where you are both working in step with one another and in partnership with one another, because once you've actually lost rapport, it becomes very, very difficult for you to be working on the same page, and ideally you don't really want to be in that situation anyway. But I would like you to write a list of the different things that you can negotiate on, that give you 9 things that you can negotiate on that you might want to look at for your negotiating preferences. In fact, we've got a downloadable that will give you not just the tips that we're giving you today, but an additional group of tips plus resources to become a better negotiator. So let's get on to number 2, design together. That's where you don't just come in and pitch something, but you come in and design with the prospect in mind. Now, I've seen a number of people have trouble with designing on the spot with clients. They feel like they need to get the brief, maybe do discovery, go away, come back with a proposal, and then they get into negotiation. And that can work, but it is so much better to be in a situation where you're designing with the client rather than going away and designing without them. Because if you can design with them, together you actually come up with an agreement that's going to suit both of your needs, which means that they're going to have far more ownership over the project and actually over the yes. So it's much more difficult to say no to something that they designed with you. You also get to understand their preferences, and you also understand the objections that they may have through the design process. Now, if you have trouble doing this, then I invite you to go and investigate design thinking process, which enables you to bring the design thinking process into how you do your discovery. So first off, having empathy to understand what is the problem that you're really solving, so you can identify what is the specific thing that you're going to be working on. From there, it is about creating a bit of ideation, identifying what are the different ways that we could potentially address this situation. Now, it's whether it's a negotiation on price, a negotiation on deal, a negotiation on the project, all of this design really comes into it. Because once we've got all these ideas on the table, we can start creating prototypes about Will that package work for you? Will that situation work for you? And test if they think it will. Now, again, if you design with them, you do the prototyping with them, then it makes it a lot easier to get to that yes much faster, rather than you having to go back and forth and back and forth. And I know that's one of the big problems that we help people in our programs with, which is how to reduce the amount of time they spend just talking to people, because they're getting into conversations where people are not ready to buy. But if you're designing with them, it becomes much easier to get to the transactional part of the conversation, where it's like, how do we get this across the line? Now, with a small organization or a small business you're working with, or even an individual, it's much easier to get that yes, because then you're defining what are the transaction steps. Maybe they need to book a date with you to do their first session. Maybe they've got to pay a deposit. Maybe they've got to sign an agreement or whatever it might be. With a larger organization, often there is a procurement process, and we want to design with people, because then we'll have a champion that can help move it through the organization and through the laser beams and the red tape to make sure that we actually get the yes from the organizational's purchase order. So that was number 2. Number 3 is about understanding that what you value is not necessarily what the client is valuing. And don't forget, this negotiation works outside of clients. It can be stakeholders. It can be just about anybody. It could be suppliers. But we're going to talk just primarily to clients for the moment. Still works in the same situation for any stakeholder that you're working with. But what you value is not necessarily the same thing as what they value. And so understanding what they value in the deal is really important, because then sometimes you can say, well, if you get this thing, could I get these 2 things? And so they're still very happy because they got the thing that they wanted, but you got more than you originally thought that you would be able to get from the situation. And the same, that comes in with payment details, and that's the options as well. Payment details, how it's delivered, who's on the project, all these things are part of that discussion. But knowing what they value and what you value are key. Now, if you don't value that much, you actually get more flexibility in the negotiation, because the person who has the highest level of value on a specific point, that becomes the sticking point for them. They have to have that thing or the deal doesn't get done. Now, you will have your ultimatum where it's like, I have to get this, otherwise it's not worth it. And that's absolutely fine. But knowing what theirs is will be key in you being able to design a more beneficial opportunity for you as your consulting business. All right. So what you value is not necessarily what they value. It's a principle. I want you to understand it before you get into these conversations with these individuals. So I've got a bonus one that I want to give you as well. There's not just the 3. The bonus one is probably saved my butt more than just about anything, because the deals that you say yes to are the deals that define your business. Now, the bonus principle is that you can always say no. You can always say no to the deal. As I said before, the deal you say yes to will define the nature of your business. And so the more deals you say no to, the probably the safer you're actually setting your situation up for, if you're just saying deals that are going to be easy for you to do, or they fit in with your lifestyle, or they give you the benefits that you want out of your business. So you can always say no, though. There's no reason to say yes. In fact, it's often not good to do the deal if it's at least not 80% in your favor, because you'll start to resent the deal. You won't put your best performance in. You're probably going to have an issue with the party as you go through the process, and you're just going to resent everything that's happening in that scenario, and you want to get out of there, which means you're not doing your best work. Say no to projects that are not a hell yes. That doesn't mean they have to be 100% out of 100%. They could be 80% out of 100%, but they need to be beneficial for you to want to engage in the next step of that negotiation, which is just to close it off. So just a quick reminder, if you want that resource that we've got there for the negotiation guide, you can click on the link in the show notes and you'll be able to get access to that. You can download it absolutely free and have it sent directly to your email address of choice. This has been episode number 78 of Your Consulting Business Podcast. My name is Russell Pearson. If you're interested to work with us in our business called The Forge, you can actually check that out. It's about helping business owners, especially those consultants, grow their business in a way that actually fits with their lifestyle. If you're interested to do that, you can always reach out. We also have the Guild, which is a lighter version of the Forge, enabling you to get access to a lot of the trainings that we have available, and some live catch-ups with the community of consultants as well. You might be interested in that. But until next time, my name is Russell Pearson. Stay passionate, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye for now.